General Hospital, secrets, proposals, and power plays ignite Port Charles. Port Charles is no stranger to chaos, but the week of June 23 to 27, 2025, proves to be an explosive turning point for several of its most emotionally entangled residents. From strategic marriage proposals to long-buried secrets unraveling, every whispered confession and quiet confrontation this week holds the potential to alter lives forever. At the center of it all, a broken man sees marriage as a tool, a young woman clings to silence as her past creeps closer, and a town begins to feel the tremors of long-overdue reckoning. Drew Kane Quartermain's life has become a carefully constructed strategy rather than a journey of the heart. Following the fallout from Willow Tate's painful custody battle, Drew, now more politically minded than romantically sincere, appears to pivot into full damage control mode. The proposal he makes to Willow this week isn't a grand romantic gesture laced with intimacy and spontaneity. It's a maneuver, a carefully calculated power play shaped by his legal counsel, Martin Gray. The promise of marriage dangles not as a symbol of enduring love, but as a potential asset in courtrooms yet to come. But Drew, ever the performer when the stakes are high, couches his proposition in the language of passion. He speaks of unity, of love, of healing, though those watching closely know it's a pitch rehearsed and transactional. Willow, still reeling from the loss of custody and the betrayal of those she once trusted, faces a decision that could cement her future as a pawn in Drew's broader legal war or free her to pursue recovery and clarity on her own terms. Her answer, expected later in the week, could either reinforce Drew's grip on her or unleash consequences far beyond his control. Meanwhile, Christina Corinthos Davis finds herself spiraling under the weight of a secret that may no longer remain buried. Elizabeth Weber, still limping from a leg injury sustained under mysterious circumstances, makes it devastatingly clear, she knows the truth. She knows Christina tampered with Rick Lansing's equipment, knows she endangered Liz's life, and knows the betrayal runs deeper than just one act of recklessness. As Christina stares down the possibility of exposure, her carefully cultivated image begins to crack. The confrontation sends her into a panic, though Liz has yet to reveal whether she intends to go to the authorities. For Christina, the uncertainty is its own kind of torture. What Christina doesn't yet realize is that her spiral is being closely monitored, not by her enemies, but by people far closer than she expects. Lucky Spencer, having urged Liz not to press charges, remains a silent figure in the background, while Christina's increasingly erratic behavior has begun to raise red flags among her allies. Her mind is fraying at the edges, and if no one intervenes, the question won't be if she implodes, but when. At the heart of the town's chatter is little Daisy Gilmore Corinthos, whose birth has not only stirred long-dormant rivalries but also created an emotional minefield for everyone connected to her. Michael Corinthos, fresh from his courtroom victory over Willow, is struggling to navigate a new dynamic with Sasha Gilmore. Their conversation this week starts with hope but quickly devolves into paranoia as Michael suspects Sasha might attempt to limit his role in Daisy's life. Ironically, Sasha harbors no such intention. Her focus is on creating a peaceful environment for their daughter, something increasingly difficult to do when caught between Corinthos' bloodlines and the unpredictable force that is Drew. Of course, things are never simple in Port Charles. Sasha's decision to once allow Jason Morgan to publicly claim paternity of Daisy has left its mark, a stain that refuses to wash away. That lie, born of necessity and desperation, continues to fuel mistrust, even as Sasha tries to distance herself from that chapter of her life. But as Michael begins leaning more heavily on Drew's influence, she may be forced to take a more active stance to protect both herself and her daughter. Elsewhere, Curtis Ashford finds himself at a breaking point in his marriage. Portia Robinson's repeated deception has finally taken its toll. Curtis, once patient to a fault, confides in Jordan Ashford that he may no longer be capable of saving what's left of his relationship. Jordan, quietly hoping for another chance, listens without judgment, but she knows better than anyone how much damage Portia's secrets have inflicted. As Drew pressures Curtis to contribute to a narrative supporting Michael's custody claims, Curtis balks. Even the thought of writing a character letter, especially one built on half-truths and legal spin, feels like yet another betrayal of his principles. Meanwhile, Trina Robinson's fury ignites into a slow-burning firestorm. She confesses to her mother just how deeply she despises Drew, but what she doesn't share is more revealing. The information that Kai overheard, if made public, could ruin lives and reputations. Trina walks a tightrope of silence, trying to protect herself and others while still reeling from her own moral confusion. As if things weren't complicated enough, Cody Bell is continuing his unsettling seduction of Ava Jerome. A plan allegedly funded by Christina, the arrangement reeks of manipulation, and worse, commodification. Watching Cody accept money to emotionally ensnare someone is both disturbing and revealing. For Cody, this might not even register as the darkest thing he's done. But for Ava, the consequences of falling into this trap could be catastrophic. Christina's motives remain opaque, whether it's revenge, jealousy, or a warped sense of justice, but her fingerprints are all over this twisted game. In a darker corner of the canvas, Dr. Isaiah Gannon is stepping into the fray with purpose. His warning to Rick Lansing isn't subtle, and it isn't empty. With Lucky gone and Elizabeth vulnerable, Isaiah appears determined to be her protector. What remains unclear is whether he's driven by personal affection, a past promise, or something far more dangerous. Rick, arrogant and reckless as ever, may not take the threat seriously. But perhaps he should. The only man who has ever truly unnerved Rick Lansing is Jason Morgan, and Jason has returned to Port Charles with silent intensity and a long memory. As the week unfolds, the question that looms over everyone is the same: how much longer can the secrets last? Port Charles has weathered affairs, betrayals, and crimes. But rarely have so many characters stood on the edge of unraveling all at once. Proposals made in bad faith, seductions fueled by money, and vengeance disguised as protection. This is not the calm before the storm. This is the storm itself. And before the week is out, someone will make a choice they can never undo. In a town where love is currency, and truth is always on trial, one misstep could change everything. And change, in Port Charles, always comes at a price.